About Gambia. Obviously, there's now the Mr. Barrow has been inaugurated in Senegal. But I was looking at that UN.int, the website of the Gambian mission that seems to be hosted on a UN server, and it still has Mr. Jammeh. So I'm wondering, can you explain to me how are those websites administered, and also what are the steps, if is the case that Mr. Barrow is now the president, that should be or will be taken to change the representation and also that website?
Well, of course, the website is a secondary issue. Right now, what we're trying to change is what's happening on the ground itself. We're aware that Mr. Jammeh continues to reject all efforts to ensure a peaceful transfer of power, and we're aware of the efforts, including by the economic community of West African states, the African Union, as well as our own efforts, to have such a peaceful transfer to President-elect Barrow. As you're aware, Jeffrey Feltman, the Undersecretary General for Political Affairs, briefed the Security Council on the situation yesterday afternoon. At 1 o'clock today, there is going to be a further meeting of the Security Council, and we can see what happens at that particular meeting. At this stage, the UN supports regional efforts aimed at resolving the crisis peacefully, and let's see where we go from there.
I guess my question, and I understand that obviously the website is secondary, but it is something that's actually under the UN's control, unlike events in Banjul. So I'm just wondering, do you know how does it actually work to have that change made? What is the UN's role, even in all some missions host their websites on that, others don't. What is the UN's role? Are you in fact endorsing the presentation of who's the president on those sites?
No, the statement of fact by the website doesn't imply an endorsement. We have made very clear that under the Constitution of the Gambia, the electoral results need to be respected, and we continue to push for a peaceful transfer of power.
Myanmar, two things, one very specific and then one more general. There's the journalist, Mr. So Mo Toon, that was killed in December. He's an investigative journalist. And the respected group, World Organization Against Torture, has issued an alert that those who are suspected of his murder have been released, and basically there seems to be impunity arising. So given the talk here in the UN about protection of journalists, in this case the death of a journalist, is there any response by, I know I'd asked you a few days ago and you said you'd asked DPA about the two people that have gone missing. Is there any response to this, both the killing of the journalist and now the release of the suspects in his death?
Regarding that, we would, of course, hope that there is no climate of impunity regarding threats or attacks against the press. So anything that indicates otherwise would be a matter of concern.
And I wanted to ask, the OIC has been meeting in Kuala Lumpur about the plight of the Rohingya, and they've said pretty clearly they believe that citizenship should be restored by Myanmar to the Rohingya, that's the root of the problem. And I wanted to know, now that there's a new Secretary General and he's obviously refugee flows are his main thing, can you get from, what is his position on whether the Rohingya are in fact people that are from Myanmar that should have citizenship and should not have to be fleeing across borders that are now sealed?
Well, this is something on which we've called under the previous Secretary General, as well as under this one, for the Myanmar authorities to deal with the situation in Rakhine State in a more positive manner. You'll have seen the release that we put out on this a few weeks ago, and those sentiments still hold. But under the new Secretary General, we do expect to have further communications with the government of Myanmar, and we'll let you know when that transpires. Yes.
Sure. I want to ask, in Cambodia, Hun Sen has filed a multi-million-dollar suit against Sam Rainsy, the opposition figure, and I know that the UN has previously, when he was in prison, when various things have happened, has monitored that. What is, I guess it's a DPA question, but what does the UN think of this most recent move in Cambodia?
I'll check with the Department of Political Affairs whether there's anything more on that. Yes.
Sure. I saw an announcement by City College that they're taking the papers, the papers of Ban Ki-moon. I'm sure and so I guess you gave rise to two questions. One, the UN library itself seems to have either the capacity or it has what purport to be online digitizations of some former Secretary General's papers. So it was being presented as like the reason this is being done is so that they can be digitized. Is there some reason that it's done that way? And two, in terms of what constitutes official?
That is the reason.
All right. So the library can't do it?
It's the same arrangement as under the previous Secretary General, which is Kofi Annan.
Okay, and my question is this: whether I've asked Stefan a couple of days ago about what records beyond the one paragraph readout were issued of the meeting of the Secretary General with Emir of Qatar on September 24th, 2013. Can we expect what do these papers consist of, and what happens to, I guess you can say, the paperwork? Presumably there's paperwork about such a meeting beyond the readout that was issued. What actually happens to those either electronic files? Where are they now? Are they in the building? Were they taken back to South Korea? Are they going to be in City College? What happened to them?
I believe they will be in City College, and there's an archivist who will deal with them.
So they physically left the building and were taken to City College, or how does this work?
I don't believe they've left the building yet. I believe that's an arrangement that will happen in the future.